Welcome to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis, where every day I aim to bring you the latest UFO reports and other fascinating stories. Today is Tuesday, January 16th, 2018. On Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, join me on my talk show, The Outlander, where I answer your emails, take your calls, and interview some of the most intriguing guests you will ever hear. Just go to irnchat.com to chat and interact and listen live to The Outlander show. Blasting off with some UFO reports. Ooh, we got some good ones. This one comes to us from Epsom, Surrey, England. This happened January 3rd, 2018. In brief, the witness states, bright light flew across my view, silent and on same trajectory at cloud level. In more detail, which isn't a lot, they state I was walking my dog near Epsom Common where I looked up and saw a white, round, brightly lit object fly past. The speed I'd likened to a military rocket, and it kept its trajectory and flew past at approximately cloud height. I saw it go behind the cloud cover, but it could only have lasted a second or two before disappearing from view. It was silent and definitely not an aircraft. All right. The next UFO report comes to us from Hagerstown, Maryland. This occurred December 31st, 2017. In brief, the witness states, an orb or light that changed position each time I took the picture. In more detail, they say, I took a couple of pictures of the supermoon on both December 31st, 2017 and January 1st, 2018, around the same time, 5 or 6 in the evening. I took the pictures with my cell phone, Android Samsung Note 4. When I got home and looked at the pictures, I found that there was a white orb surrounded by a purple aura that I didn't notice when I took the picture. I took the picture quickly because I was on my way home when I saw the moon and asked my husband to pull over so that I could take the pictures. This happened 2 days in a row. The first day, December 31st, 2017, there were no clouds. The second day, January 1st, 2018, there were some clouds. Once I finally took the pictures off the camera and loaded them onto my laptop and took a closer look, I noticed the orbs, which were in a different position each time I took the picture. Do you think that this was my phone creating the orb, or do you think that these orbs were there and surrounding the moon? Please let me know what you think. Well, I don't know. Unidentified. It means unidentified. Sounds UFO-ish to me. All right, moving on. This next UFO report comes to us from South Holland, Illinois. This is a UFO blast from the past. This happened September 13th, 2011. Big UFO almost crashed to a line plane. Huh? Okay. In more detail, they say I was in a backyard 4 p.m. I did take photos from a lined plane about 10 kilometers high in the south with my old Canon camera with full zoom, low resolution when I saw something flew with very high speed in a few seconds. When I put the SD card in my PC, I was shocked. I saw a very big classical UFO with a dome that almost crashed in the line plane. The line plane flew to the west. The UFO flew to the east. I think the pilots must have seen that big UFO. It was in 2011, September, 4:01 p.m., that I took those pics. Now it's the time I will share to the public. This is one for the 50 photos that I took from UFOs in many years. Ooh, very, very fascinating. All right. This next UFO report comes to us in the form of a black triangle sighting in Princeton, Minnesota. This happened January 3rd, 2018. In brief, the witness states at 1:38 a.m. on January 3rd, 2018, I observed a cluster of 3 white lights with at least 1 red light in the eastern sky from my home in Shoreview, Minnesota. Together, the lights hovered, wobbled, darted, ascended, and descended, and gradually moved to the southeast. 2 beams of light. Their brief story continues on into a more extended one. At 1:38 a.m. on January 1st, 2018, I observed from an east-facing window of my Shoreview, Minnesota home a cluster of 3 white lights and a red light moving together far in the distance at about a 40-degree angle from the horizon. The triangle grouping wobbled, hovered, darted, and emitted a beam of light twice during the half hour that I watched it. The beams of white light emitted were cast in an arc that reached midway to the ground and appeared to travel so fast that the light had a tail or trail. I witnessed a similar or the same phenomenon of the hovering lights on January 1st, 2018, but not on January 2nd, 2018, even though I searched for it on January 2nd, 2018. Both my son and I are intrigued by what we have observed and are wondering if anyone else has seen this. We are considering investing in a telescope for better viewing, although the show goes on for at least an hour and a half. We only watch continuously for a half hour. Really, I would have been out there and probably pitched a tent, even in the cold. These things don't happen all the time. It's fascinating when people see these things and they're like, okay, I've watched it for a while. I'm going to go inside now. Perhaps I'll catch it another time and I'll have better equipment to see it then. And it may be the only time in their entire lives that they ever see this. And it never, ever happens the way that they play out. There are some hot spots that it does, but 9 times out of 10, I just hear, gosh, I kept searching and it never happened again. Go figure. Should have stuck to it when it showed up. All right. The next UFO report comes to us from Lake Wales, Florida. This happened January 2nd, 2018. In brief, they say mutilated wild boars found along Florida Road. Oh, this is neat. At 9:45 a.m. on the morning of January 2nd, 2018, my wife Tina and I were traveling along Moore Road in Polk City, Florida. We were looking for bald eagles, which my wife had seen earlier that morning along the same stretch of road. Maybe the eagles did it. Just kidding. At 1:11:91 Moore Road, we pulled our car over, got out, and began observing the area for eagles. We did not find any, however. Something else caught our attention. 2 dead wild boars on the side of the road. Both bodies presented in typical cattle mutilation conditions. There was very little decomposition and the animal skin looked to be almost surgically removed. Perhaps even stranger than the presence of the bodies was the fact that there were 2 lying right next to each other. We both agreed that it was highly unlikely that 2 wild boars would be hit at the exact same time in the exact same spot. Upon further investigation of the scene, we detected no unusual smells or observed anything else out of the ordinary. There was no blood in the road, and the animals did not appear to have been dragged to their final positions. It looked as if they had been drained and dropped there. Did you keep them if they didn't stink? Did you pick them up? Did you take pictures? That's fascinating. Or even just take a sample of the skin. I mean, everybody's got a paring knife, no? Or a pocket knife? I don't know. But that is not something you come across much. I mean, pictures, anything. That is so rare. Never seen such a thing or heard of such a thing. Wow, what an opportunity missed. And you could have submitted it, or you could have roasted it. I don't know. All right. Moving on, UFO sighting in Exton, Pennsylvania. This occurred January 2nd, 2018. In brief, the witness says, appeared as an unusual, rapidly pulsating star to the naked eye. Use telescope for closer view. In more detail, the witness states, I went out to view the photograph and supermoon. Okay. Visible on the night of January 2nd, 2018, in eastern Pennsylvania, I noticed an unusual, rapidly pulsating star to the lower right of the moon, in the southwest portion of the sky. This was not a plane or satellite. It remained very bright and maintained its position in the sky for hours. It was in the vicinity of the constellation Canis Minor. I used an amateur Meade telescope to get a better look at it. Through a strong lens, it appeared to be a disk of rapidly rotating lights that flashed as well. These lights constantly changed color. There was a dark void in the center, though at times I noticed some specks of light in the center. I recorded a video using an iPhone against the eyepiece of my telescope. I also took numerous stills from the video as the video shifts due to an unstable tripod. I will attach all of the content below. Hopefully, you can offer an explanation. Thank you. Well, all right, that's a good one. Moving on. The next, oh boy, this is a big, this is not, I don't know. We'll see if we can pronounce this one. UFO sighting in Wroclaw, Worcestershire. Donskaki. Was this Norwegian? I'm not sure. This occurred December 31st, 2017. In brief, the witness states, it flew quickly and without any sound, then changed path and flew away quickly from my eyesight. In more detail, they state, number 1, celebrating New Year. Number 2, my fiance saw this first and she turned my attention to it. Number 3, it's not a first time when I saw UFO in this city. Almost every day I see at least one of them on the sky. Very different kinds of them. I just knew it's UFO. I should read this with an accent, but I don't know where this is. Number 4, it was at night, so I can't see any details, but it's glowing, bright light, flew speed and soundless. Okay. This one had a teardrop shape. Because I see UFO very often in Wroclaw, I'm not especially excited about that. I just watched it. Number 6, it just changed flight direction. Just flew away from field of view. Okay, wow. Teardrops, those are not that common, but pretty cool when you hear about those. All right, the next UFO sighting. This happened in Denton, Kentucky. This is a slight UFO blast from the past. This happened March 14th, 2014. In brief, the witness states, walking on hill behind my house, I saw this silent green orb descending in an unusual flight pattern and could see what looked to me the popular description of several gray aliens piloting the weird structure. Ooh. In more detail, they state, the weird thing about the whole ordeal is that it happened when I first started studying UFOs. As if to say, yep, it's all true. We're here. I was with kids roasting hot dogs. After we were finished, the kids ran into the house. I was on my way back in when this bright green light appeared out of nowhere. It was in a curving motion, descending behind the ridge, and out of nowhere redirected flight pattern and went opposite way. And I could see what I can only describe as gray aliens piloting the craft. The radio went static and my cell phone vibrated in my pocket and wasn't a text, and the vibration setting was turned off. The news and other reports were on Facebook called it a meteor, but I knew better. I was at least 50 feet or so closer from it. Okay. The light pulsated. I don't edit this stuff. People need to edit. The light pulsated, and there was no noise at all. My dogs went crazy barking at it. I saw it, and now everyone thinks I'm crazy. Wish I would have checked for lost time knowing what I know now. That's my UFO story. No pictures, huh? All right. Okay. That's not gonna happen again. All right. The next UFO report comes to us from Brooklyn, New York, January 2nd, 2018. In brief, they state plane like with a gold ring and reflect.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely, abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jewel-like middle. In more detail, they state, I was trying to go to sleep and looked out the window. Coming up from behind some trees, I saw the UFO. It flew and sounded like a plane, but the colors, the shine, and the shape, they were completely different. I felt like I couldn't move because of the fear. I wanted to look away, but couldn't. The middle of the UFO caught my attention the most because it was bright colored and shiny. I wasn't wearing my contacts, so I had to squint to see the UFO. Looked to me like the effect of a lamppost, but far away. The gold was deep and rich. The object flew over or past my building, and I didn't see it any longer. At first, I tried to convince myself it was a plane. Then a nuclear bomb. Some of the surprises in reading these things. A nuclear bomb? Okay, but none of those explain why it looks so beautiful. I would hope it doesn't. Koosh, a nuclear bomb? Really? Okay, yeah, not beautiful. All right, the next UFO sighting comes to us from New Jersey, Oakland, New Jersey. This occurred January 2nd, 2018. In brief, they state 3 gold colors with a trailing white light over Oakland, New Jersey. While walking my dog, I noticed 3 gold lights stacked almost on top of each other, with the middle light protruding slightly out in front of the other 2 lights. Gosh, it sounds like the 2018 models of UFOs have come out or something. You guys noticing this pattern about this magnificent middle light? It might be the new stuff. All right. It appeared to be in an almost half-star configuration. The objects had a blinking white light trailing behind the 3 gold color lights. It traveled almost directly overhead in a northwest direction. It appeared to be traveling extremely slow. There was a small plane that was traveling in a westerly direction, and the object turned and followed the plane. Wow. It appeared that the object was tracking the plane. That's hilarious. Poor people are like, oh my God, what is that? Is it following us now? Don't let me look. And it waited for it to get in front of it. Oh, before it turned in behind it. Sounds like a cop. I lost sight of the object, but not the plane for a few moments, and when I looked back up, the plane was still flying, but the object was gone. The night was clear with a full moon. There were no clouds and no wind. The dipper was visible to the east of where I was standing. Wow, that's pretty funny. Stalker alert. All right. The next report is an alien encounter. Oh boy, is this a juicy one, blasting from the past. This happened in Miami, Florida on April 9th, 1963. They call it egg-shaped. Oh boy, they just are naming names here. I'm not going to read all that off. My friend, I'll just say Bettina, was abducted when she was 7 years old, and every 7 years since then, she's had contact. She has been on missions around the world on this quest that she has been told to do. I was on one of these with her. Ooh, now that's pretty freaky. And now my friend, she has applied to run for Congress to take on Alina Ross Lightnin's position in the Miami seat. Well, heck. The opposition has already started digging the dirt, and it was in the Miami Herald if you look it up, I guess, in regards to her abduction. I think she could use your organization's help After all, we need more believers in Congress. After you hear her story, you know the truth is out there. There are other people who've seen it, and it was in the Herald that year. Oh, wow, this one's juicy, everybody. You mean to tell me, okay, I'm going to name this person because they have it in the report. It's public record. The name is Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera. And apparently she's running for a seat. Huh. Well, I guess this is something that, we're in the midst of some kind of disclosure going on. And it's being used against her that she reported having had alien contact or even abduction experiences. Wow. Yeah, she could use some support. So you guys that are listening, and especially if you're in Miami, Florida, and you're a believer, and hello, our Pentagon has come forward to say they've been spending millions on researching such things. Who are we to leave this poor lady hanging out there? We do need more believers in Congress and give her the support. So this happened April 9th, 1963, and it was in the Miami Herald. She must have been a kid. That is, hey, that's if I was there in Florida, I'd vote for the lady because we do need more support in this area. So you guys, give this lady some support. Reach in, reach out, help her out. All right. Huh. That was a cool one. All right, moving along here. We've got a UFO sighting in Cheney, Washington. I didn't know there was a Cheney, Washington. Like Dick Cheney? All right, January 2nd, 2018. In brief, the witness states, bright lights blinded me, but I seen through and I noticed a figure in all of the ships. Another one. In more detail, they say, I was sitting on top of the park gazebo, hanging out looking at girls, listening to the snow crunch and melt. Then out of my peripheral vision, I see bright lights. 4 bright lights. As I'm looking, I could kind of see almost people. It freaked me out, and I was frightened, so I did a voice recording because my camera doesn't work. I don't know if you could hear the humming of the ships, but it was a true, terrifying experience. Then they started moving quickly through the air, and then they just disappeared. I had went home and watched videos on what to do, and of course one of the things was to get pictures, and I couldn't. I had also heard to not draw attention to the men in black, which I don't know who they are. Well, it ain't Will Smith. All I know is the movie. Oh, he says it too. Aha. Okay, anyways, that is it for the story of the experience and the UFO sighting. I'll share briefly. One of my good friends, she was a person that helped do things like delivering papers and setting things up, and it was like 4 a.m, and she's like, it's pitch black out, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a big, bright white spotlight shone over her, and she's like, where's this coming from? She's like, I felt like, like a magnifying glass was put over me, and she was trying to figure out where it was coming from, and then it just turned off like nothing. So these things do happen. It is quite freaky when it does, but it does happen. All right. The next UFO report, we got quite a few. I'm tossing them out tonight. Why not? This occurred in Edwardsville, Illinois, December 30th, 2017. In brief, the witness states, I watched it for a while as I drove and had irregular path, unlike planes and helicopters as it passed. UFO seemed to shoot away from me and was gone in thin air, only leaving trail of light. In more detail, the witness states, I was driving on I-70 west heading to St. Louis, and I noticed air traffic was heavy. As I watched the sky more, I noticed a clean white light that had nothing blinking, which I found strange. The way it moved was also strange, as it went from side to side and then would suddenly change direction. I noticed it mainly because of its movement and flight path. It didn't follow the flight path that airplanes normally take near St. Louis, which is along the southwest of the city. This was more north of the city, but flying south. I first thought it was a helicopter, but soon realized that the speed it would gain, that helicopters couldn't move like that. As I got closer, passing the Stoughton and Lebanon exit, I got closer to Edwardsville, Illinois, and the object, it seemed to have gotten lower, I would say treetop levels, and was quite bigger than a drone. I thought it may have been one, but again it moved too quickly and had such a spastic path. It also had no green or lights on it. It was only a solid white sphere. I had felt pretty weird when I first started driving and didn't think much of it, but after looking back, I realized that the anxiety I got worse the closer I'd gotten to the actual sighting. Isn't that something? That happens to a lot of people. Like, they just know something is coming that could kick my butt. I better just keep my ego in check. I don't know. And then they continue. As I watched, I felt it was so anxious and had a heavy feeling in my chest, which I haven't gotten before. As I passed the UFO, it was at treetop level, and it was as if it shot straight south into thin air. Following it was a trail of light with some green and purple in the trail, but that was it. I watched the spot it was at, and there were no buildings or trees that would have blocked my view, just a huge empty farm field. I was astonished, and right as the UFO had left, so did the pressure in my chest. That's telling. I am still in shock as to how it shot straight away into the air. Hate to say it, but almost as if it went into some sort of hyperdrive. This was my first real UFO sighting that gave me strange feelings and didn't get blocked by buildings or anything. I watched it clear as day as it came and as it left. The next UFO sighting, it's an alien encounter in Cambridge, Ontario. This happened July 22nd, 2017. In brief, they state, do not know what these were, but were unknown. There were creepy, skinny-like figures. In more detail, the witness states, I was waiting for a bus when this van pulled up. Weird critters or unhuman-looking people popped out. You can see the outline of their face and eye sockets wearing black and alien color, gray color. I'm not sure exactly what they were. After they left, the people were complaining of their cell phones crashing or they suddenly stopped working. I've had drone-like flying objects I've seen in the sky before, and now this happens. It is unknown if they're human or alien or even another species we don't know exist. It's creeping me out. It honestly looked like they were looking at me. After a minute or so, after people and me took pictures and made it clear we took the photos, they took off. I moved out of the city and still am in shock and don't know what it is to this day. That is so unclear. I wish you gave more detail on that. That is fascinating. Good Lord. Okay. And on to some paranormal inspirational stories. This one is entitled Angel Experience. The witness, an experiencer, states, my ex-husband was a Reiki practitioner, and one night he was giving me a treatment for a repetitive strain in my shoulders. I was afraid to open my eyes during the treatment because I didn't want to lose my mind's eye view of all the wonderful visitors in our living room. But at the same time, didn't want to discover they were really there. I could see 5 people around the recliner. A Mandarin, a twin boy and girl, a French monk, don't know why I thought he was French, and a girl dressed in a 1940s trench coat. That was weird enough, but when I looked beyond them in my mind's eye, I could see the most beautiful male angel standing at the far end of the room. He had huge white wings, which reached the right top of the ceiling. I'm sure everyone thinks I'm losing it, but I know what I was experiencing, and it was the best encounter ever. The French guy was a bit imposing on the mind. This next one is called Easter Angel. I believe that I saw an angel when I was around 6 or 7 years old. It happened on the night before Easter. I'd fallen asleep in my parents' bedroom, and I woke up and my mom was sitting on the bed, and she told me to go upstairs and to tell my dad to come downstairs. And so I went upstairs to get my dad, and as we were both walking towards my parents' bedroom, I saw an angel standing by the bed. She was looking directly at me. She was barefoot, and she didn't have a smile on her face or anything. I can't remember what her mouth looked like, but she had blue eyes and long black curly hair, and she was wearing a long-sleeved yellow dress with flowers on it. Her dress almost looked like a nightgown. She was glowing, and she had almost like a white beam of light around her. As I got closer to her, she started to vanish, and once she was completely gone, I told my parents that I had seen an angel. That's the only time I have ever seen her, but I believe that she is my guardian angel. Sounds like a ghost to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right. Well, I have to tell you guys, thank you so very much for tuning in to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis.
Progressive presents Mindflowness with Flow.
You are a mighty fortress of self-reliance. Your bike has the power of 1,000 horses. With accident forgiveness and total loss coverage, the two of you are invincible. Like an oatmeal raisin cookie in a bulletproof vest.
Protect your bike with the #1 motorcycle insurer and hit the road with ease. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 in motorcycle insurance from 2014 Millward Brown National Survey data.
Be sure to check out UFOHeadlineNews.com every day, and also tune in to The Outlander Fridays, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you've experienced something out of the ordinary and want some level-headed advice, or if you've seen a UFO and want to share, be sure to write me at my main website, HeidiHollis.com, or dustoutlander@gmail.com. Remember to always keep an open mind so you can stay informed and inspired.